Welcome to Blue Tinted Glasses, the home of Leicester City talk on YouTube. Fan debates, live watch-alongs, post-match reactions, and all the Foxes banter you could ask for. Subscribe now and see the game through Blue Tinted Glasses.
Just into race clear. He's got Jamie Vardy with him. Jamie Vardy sets off. Jamie Vardy! Pull back here for Fatawu. Oh, he scored! An absolute belter! That is trademark Abdul Fatawu.
This one into the box. Nugent over the top. Oh, what a goal! David Nugent's just scored a beauty. He's made Forest look like fools.
Premier League champions 2016. The amazing Leicester City.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Blue Tinted Glasses. It's Sunday morning and we won a game, which means it's time for Good Morning Foxes. Not live from the pub today. Sorry, I've just had a crumpet as I was telling these guys. Got it down me a bit too quick. Not live from the pub today, but we are obviously live from all of our lovely homes for Good Morning Foxes. So, yes, make sure to get your comments in throughout the course of the stream. Make sure to hit the like button as well and hit subscribe. Let us know what you thought to the game yesterday. And yeah, there's a few different bits and bobs that we've got to speak about today, so I'm looking forward to it. Before we get into it all, let me come to you first, Kate. How are you after your trip away to Norwich?
Yeah, I had a great day. I mean, obviously the football performance wasn't super, but I mean, we had the sickener end of it on Tuesday night with an injury time goal. So to be on the receiving end was absolutely brilliant. And yeah, thoroughly enjoyed the day. Caught up with some old friends who live that way. So yeah, it was absolutely great. Loved it.
Good stuff. Steve, well, all three of you actually, away at Norwich. Steve, how was your trip down there, mate?
Yeah, I had a very good pie that I won on the radio that I ended up paying for because, local business. You've got to support local businesses. I thought we were going to lose the game. 70 minutes in, I still thought we were going to lose the game, but happy to come away with a win and travel back with a smile on my face for a change.
There we go. Lovely stuff. Jack, over to you, mate. But before you tell me how your trip to Norwich was, can you tell me what you had? What was the food review yesterday?
Mel, Steve, we had a pie together.
Oh, okay. Did you have the same pie?
No, we had two different pies, didn't we, Steve?
Yeah, I had the beef Penang pie. Which was very nice. There was like whole chilies in it, and it was spicy. It was good.
Yeah.
Jack, what did you have?
I had the Aussie Deluxe. It had beef, gravy, bacon, cheese. Yeah, fantastic.
Oh, fucking hell.
Jesus
Christ.
Well, none of this bollocks, you know what I mean?
Sounds like heartburn to me, that. It sounds like heartburn.
Well, bloody heartburn going up the bloody
Yeah. Let us know, anyone who was there, let us know in the comments what you had, what your food review was. But yeah, okay. Before we talk about the football and all that stuff, I want to talk about one thing specifically because it's doing the rounds on social media as well and lots of the other different forum sites. Look, you've got three people here who are at the game, so they'll be able to talk about it better than I am. But I've seen tweets and even a couple videos of some chanting yesterday that was happening in the away end. Now, we know that the away end and the home ground has been quite toxic for a long time. Lots of chants with abuse, I suppose. There's been name calling for a long time. In football, forever in football name calling, but yesterday was I found particularly bad. So I think, and any of you can jump in and correct me, I think one of the chants was towards top that said "sell the club and fuck off home." That was one of the chants that was going around, and then there was another one that literally said they basically, without saying word for word, that Rudkin should die. Which I think is just utterly, disgraceful, to be honest with you. This is a point that Kate's made plenty of times in the past about, how can you expect Leicester fans to want to take their kids to the football when stuff like that is going on? You're risking now as well the future generation of Leicester fan, right? That their parents won't want to take them to the ground when things like that are happening. There's a comment here that says from Reese, I was stood right next to it. You can be angry at someone for doing a rubbish job, but calling for someone's death is too far. We're better than that. Come on, lads. I think it's crazy. And to be fair, even the most even the really strong top KP out, Rudkin out brigade on Twitter, even a lot of them are condemning it. And I think all the supporters groups should as well. I think the club should come out and address it. Because it's disgraceful. I don't know if you wanted to add any of that, Steve. Anything to that, Steve, mate?
Yeah. So I was driving back last night, and I suddenly had a sort of like a light bulb, and I was like, hang on a sec. Did people actually sing like they wanted Rudkin to die? So I thought I'd put it on Twitter and just find out. And I got a few DMs and a video sent to me confirming that it actually happened. And genuinely, I am, and I've been very clear that I don't think Rudkin's doing a good job, and my own opinion is that King Power should sell the club, right? I'm very clear of that. But at the end of the day, if you're wishing for somebody to die who you don't know personally, who's just doing a job at a football club that he's been paid for, then you need to sort your life out, because that is a disgrace. And I've emailed the Foxes Trust. I've sent messages to other supporters groups as well, because they're quite quick to come out and have a go at the club for finances or ticket prices or anything. But if they don't come out and condemn the fan behaviour around this, then they genuinely need to have a look at themselves in the mirror, because they're not doing their job properly. Nobody should go to a football game and expect a chant like that to be sang. You know, it harks back to the 70s and 80s, and we're not in that era of football going nowadays. And yeah, look, I might sound like I'm a snowflake and I'm woke or whatever. I don't really. I think this sort of thing, you need to stick, your flag in the ground and come out and say that it's not good enough, and fan bases should not be singing this sort of stuff.
Kate, I take it you heard the same chants yesterday.
I didn't hear the death ones. No, I didn't hear that. But I did hear the other one, and I was absolutely ashamed. Like, I just held my head in my hands a little bit, really, because a few people around me were like, "What?" People behind me were commenting about it. It's just gone into waters that are very murky now. And I just feel that certain fans are using a football ticket as a gateway to their poor behaviour. And that isn't right. That doesn't give you an excuse to chant what you do just because you're in a football ground. And I thought it was absolutely awful. Like, this is Top's second home as far as I'm concerned. And he will always be welcome in Leicester. So no matter what you think about the guy, in terms of his job, to say the things that were said, and then obviously the Rudkin stuff as well, is just bang out of order. And they aren't football fans, they're not Leicester fans, they don't represent me or have anything in common with me. And that's all I have to say really about that.
Yeah, I think we all agree. Jack, anything to add? Did you hear these chants as well?
Yeah, I heard the Rudkin one. It's not something I'll get involved in, because I think it steps the line. Yes, you can have your opinion on him. I don't like him. I honestly think he should be not there as director of football. But that's my opinion on John Rudkin. But I'm not going to go and sing something like that, because I won't wish death on anybody, not even my worst enemy, to be fair. Because the thing is, I think this shows how toxic the club is now, and how far the poor decision making, and that's common. The fans are angry, they really are, and to go 1-0 down, you knew what to expect, how the fans would react to it, and to sing something about death on somebody, it's not good. It really isn't, and I honestly didn't get involved in it at all. But yeah.
Well. I was going to say, Jack, I mean, it's even worse when you read word for word what was said. It's even worse, so it's shocking. As Imran said here, big mouths, small dicks should all be banned. And hopefully because that's, like I said, we all know that's way too far. Okay, last comment there about it from Wigston Foxes. Wigston Fox, there are clearly not supporters. Sadly, this is a reflection of a broken society. And finally, Richard, I found it's 20-year-olds going to the games pissed, almost looking for trouble. Yeah, I'm sure there's older ones as well. But yeah, I hear what you're saying, Richard, on that, mate. Okay, let's move on to some slightly more positive parts of yesterday. We won a bloody game. Can you believe it? We're going to start right at the beginning. I'm going to come to you first, Steve. When that lineup came out, mate, I think, look, we were kind of guilty to believing, Badia Luco, he didn't play for the under-21s and he was in the training video. He's gonna start or he's gonna be on the bench. Obviously, he wasn't. But Steve, at left back instead, which did surprise me massively, was Ricardo Pereira. Now I understand that he's played there before. He played there a little bit under Rodgers when there were injuries to Justin and Castagna. But for me, Steve, like from minute one, you could see like it was just. I felt he was quite uncomfortable at left back. Personally, that's how I feel, and I think it was probably the wrong decision. Even though we don't like Thomas was available, and I think he should have probably played at left back over Ricardo.
Yeah, well, I actually don't think Thomas played all that bad on Tuesday night, so I thought he was going to start. Yep. But no, to play Ricardo there felt a bit strange. And yeah, you're right. You could tell that he's not a natural left back because, it's like when you play a wrong-footed defender in centre back. They can only pass the ball one way. So if you're right-footed on left, it's a bit awkward. I saw the lineup and I said to Jack, I might as well go home now because I think we are going to get beaten today. But I think the injury that we had in the first half sort of helped the balance of the team because it meant that we brought on a left back and we moved more sort of centrally the defenders and he went back to right back, didn't he? So, but yeah, it was a lineup that most of us were sort of scratching ahead. I think people in the WhatsApp group were saying like this is just a desperation. He's gonna, he's losing his job and he's trying different things to try and make things work, sort of round pegs, square holes, all the sort of thing. So. But yeah, look, it worked itself out in the end. But yeah, the first half was pretty poor.
What about you, Kate? Because I mean, one thing that Steve mentioned there was some people. I'm not saying Steve said this. Steve just said that other people said that he's getting desperate, and I fucking hate that. I said it yesterday on the watch along, Kate, because it's like. Oh, Marty doesn't try anything new. He needs to go, and then when he does try something different, like I don't fault him as such for trying something different, Kate. But it clearly didn't work, and obviously he was forced into a change anyway when Nelson got injured, and obviously they had to move it around, and Ricardo went to right back, and Thomas came on. So, what did you make to the lineup when you saw it? That change in particular, and how it went.
I think I said on Twitter yesterday. So we had a 6 in a 10, a right back at left back, and a centre back at right back. But either way, I thought defensively it was all right. It wouldn't be my favourite to put Ricardo there, but then again, Luke Thomas and VK have been poor, and I agree with Steve. Luke Thomas didn't do a great deal wrong on Tuesday, but he clearly sees that as a weak link, and I don't think Ricky P did that bad a job. And I really like Caleb Okoli. That's his third performance on the bounce for me, where he's been one of the best players in the team. But again, the setup for me was way too defensive. It's the JJ problem for me that he doesn't work in the 10, and it's no surprise that when you bring on a 10 in Bobby to be in that role, and he had Bobby and Mavadidi at his disposal, and you keep plugging away at JJ in that position, he just becomes so redundant. And then things started to tick when Bobby got moved into the 10 and JJ was actually in his home position, and things just looked a lot more balanced. The defence didn't bother me so much. Marty is way too defensive for me anyway. But it was the setup of the attack. Like, we couldn't get going attacking wise because we didn't have the firepower to be able to do it. And that was just really frustrating when you need a goal as well. We went 1-0 down and you need a goal. And Jordan Ayew was just awful yesterday, like really, really awful. Like, just every time he gets the ball, I feel like someone's pressed pause. And I'm like, okay, what are we pressing play again? Like, what's happening? He just completely slows everything down to a grinding stop. So yeah, frustrating lineup, but I understand some of it. And I don't think it's desperation. We've had Brendan, who was very, very, very stubborn. But I'm just getting frustrated that Marty doesn't see that JJ is redundant in the 10. So it really is a wasted selection, in my opinion.
I'm glad you mentioned Ayew as well, because, I mean, Imran said this, and for context, Imran sent something in our WhatsApp chat the other week, and he said, I've just found it. When Ayew runs, it's like watching a marshmallow being swept away by the wind, which had us all laughing. But I
before we got the ball, sometimes it's just his default.
Yeah, I noticed that whenever he got the ball, he was always looking to go down, and I'm like, stand up, mate. You there are times where you are clearly the Ghanaian Messi. You take it around 4 or 5 people. Just do that, mate. Yeah.
Well, what about you? What about you, Jack? Because for me, on the left-hand side, right, I feel, and I could be wrong on this, and I'm not saying it was the right thing to do either. I agree with you all that starting Ayew there was the wrong decision, but it gives me the kind of Ruud van Nistelrooy vibe, Jack, where I think Ruud played Ayew out wide for a long time because he thought it would protect the fullback a little bit, because obviously we know that we've been absolutely destroyed down the left. Many times this season. So I feel like that was the thinking behind Ayew playing out left again. But obviously in reality it didn't help at all, and going forwards we were just absolutely useless.
Yeah, that's putting someone there who likes to get around the pitch, isn't it? And
Yeah.
yesterday he did the exact same thing as he always does. He's never in one position, he's doing everybody else's job. So that, do you know what? Marty's one of them who likes to put square pegs in round holes, because he's obviously got Ramsey injured, hasn't he? And Bobby Reid didn't start, so we'd had to put Jordan James there again, which I'm not quite comfortable with. I'd rather him in that number 8 role. But to put Caleb Okoli as more of a right back, you can't put a centre back in a wing position. It just doesn't work. When Ben Nelson went off, he put Caleb Okoli back in, which worked, and put Ricardo back in his natural position. And then Luke Thomas came on, and I think it changed more when he made the subs. When he brought Mavididi on, he brought who else did he bring on yesterday? Bobby Decordova-Reid, and put the players in their actual positions, and that's where it worked for Leicester. It's just desperation, isn't it? I think for him a bit. I think he was feeling a bit of pressure yesterday. I think he somehow thought to himself, "How do I start winning games here?" Norwich are not the greatest. You could clearly see that yesterday when they did have the ball, even in the first half, they didn't really do a lot with it. But we just allow him onto us all the time. But it was a poor game between two sides, and you can see where both sides' mentality were at yesterday. But when he made the changes in that 70th minute, that's where Leicester really started to kick on after we went 1-0 down.
I mean, let me ask you this, Steve. Kate said about Okoli, right, being one of the better players over the last 3 months. Sorry, not 3 months. 3 games. Sorry, yeah, 3 games. Sorry, too many crumpets this morning, I think. But no, I think for me, Steve, I would agree, right, that I think defensively in that right back position, he's been good the last 2 games. It's just that when he's got the ball and he's trying to progress the ball, or you often find Ricardo or even Hamza, right? You try and play the ball down the line to Fatawu. It doesn't really come off for a Caleb, in my opinion. But he is solid defensively there. But I want to pivot slightly, Steve, to Ben Nelson. Now, Ben Nelson, I think, in the last 2 games, he was my man of the match in the Middlesbrough game, Leicester's man of the match, in my opinion. I think he was brilliant. And yesterday, look, he didn't do much wrong. He didn't do anything wrong, in my opinion. But how gutting is it that you've got this guy who comes into the team finally at last, 2 good performances or 1.5 good performances, and then he has off the ball, basically went up in the air, lands funny on his ankle, and he's stretchered off. I mean, that is heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is, because we've all been clambering for him to play, and he's finally got his opportunity, and he looks like, well, actually, we don't know how bad it could be. It could be just a twist, and he's back in a couple of weeks, which would be good. It could be longer, depending if it's done ligament damage. But yeah, you could tell if we had a full fit starting back 4 with Thomas, Ricardo, Vestergaard, and Nelson. I think that is our best back 4. And he looked decent with Vestergaard. There were people saying that you can't play with Vestergaard because they're too similar. Well, actually, having 2 players that can spread the ball and knock it into the corners is quite handy. So it is a massive shame, because I think we all were clamouring for it, and he needs the game time to progress as a footballer, and he was finally getting it. Honestly, it is a shame. It really is, because we looked so much better. And let's say Tuesday night he was incredible. He wasn't at fault for any of the goals that we conceded on Tuesday. I don't think he was at fault for the goal we conceded on yesterday. But yeah, it is a shame, but that's what we want to see. We want to see more younger players coming through and given the opportunity, and he was given that opportunity. So let's just hope that he's back within 2 weeks and he can play against Stoke, because it'd be better than fast.
Yeah, I mean, Kate, I know me and you have been quite sceptical as to why maybe he hasn't featured, right? And if anything, in Marty's press conference earlier in the week, he did give maybe a clue or a hint. He did say that Ben Nelson's training effort or performances have improved, which suggests that maybe they just weren't at the level previously. But there is no denying he came in and he's taken his opportunity, regardless of whether it's a sprain, ligaments. Someone said, Luke was like, he's broken his ankle, right? Which I don't think he's broken his ankle, but you know, Luke said the bone is sticking out of his ankle. Yeah,
If he would be on gas and air if he broke his leg.
Yeah. Yeah, but they did strap it up properly and stretch him off. So that is why there's a concern. So I think, Kate, even if it's a sprain, he's going to be out for a little while, I think. You know, at least a couple of weeks, you'd imagine. If not way beyond that. It could be into the new year. But how frustrating is it, Kate? Because, again, like, you know, he's spoken really highly of by the Oxford manager, by people at the club, obviously by fans, and for it to end like that, you know, in the first half, very, very disappointing.
Yeah, it was just gutting, wasn't it? It just seems to be typical, really. We get a guy in that we've wanted in for ages, and he just looks so calm. Yannick's quite calm, but sometimes it's a misnomer because I wish he was less calm in moments. But Luke Nelson just has this aura about him of just being calm, good on the ball, and just aware all the time. And he does give that reassurance, I think, on the back line, which is why I didn't have too many concerns about the back line, despite the Okoli, Ricky P positioning. He has worked well with Yannick, and we've spoken about that for a while. That's the reason why he's not been picked. He did work well, but it would be interesting to see what would happen with the ball over the top, because Norwich didn't try that. But yeah, I'm gutted for him. It's just almost typical, isn't it? That's just how it goes sometimes. But, you know, if it's a sprain, the international break has come at the good time. But it's just, if it's more than that, ligaments can be quite long and lengthy to recover from, longer than a break, I think, sometimes. But if we'll just have to see. I've already done his Achilles, because when he sat down, the physio obviously was looking at the injured leg, and then he felt the back of his other leg, and I'm like, are you testing his Achilles to see if it's still there? So I hope, and obviously Marty's now confirmed it was his ankle, but yeah, we'll just have to see. But it's sod's law, isn't it? It's sod's law. Wish him a speedy recovery.
Yeah, I think this is a bit harsh, Richard. I think you said it yesterday on the watch along, or maybe it was somebody else. But you know, he did his quad last season, and then he's just obviously just had a funny landing yesterday, going up for the ball. So I wouldn't go as far as injury prone just yet. I just think it was a bit of a freak what happened to him yesterday. Very frustrating. So just a quick one from Daz here. Good to see you boys yesterday. Spicy pie, Steve. Papered over the cracks for now, but Marty's subs were spot on. Hope the injuries are not too bad. Nelson, welcome back. What about you, Jack? What did you make to Ben Nelson, mate? Because I agree with Kate. Like, you see, he seems very calm. That's what the Oxford fans were saying about him last season. Last season, the Oxford fans were comparing him to John Stones, and saying that, you know, this guy will play for England one day, which is obviously why we're hopeful for his future. But yeah, what did you make to him?
No, I honestly thought he were good yesterday. I thought, do you know what? He's composed. He's a young head on older shoulders, isn't he? You'd think he's been around the game quite a bit, Ben Nelson. You can see where Oxford fans were loving him, to be fair. And he was the man of the match against Middlesbrough. If you had to pick a man of the match, it would have been him. And he works this system well when he plays in the centre-back role. He's calm, composed, does everything you need of him. He's got a bit of pace about him as well, which is good. And I'd have liked to see the Ben Nelson, Caleb Okoli thing after pre-season, but we've not got that far, have we? So, now I do wish him a speedy recovery. He didn't look good yesterday. He might be out for a bit now. And it always seems when we like to see players doing well, they seem to get injured afterwards, which is a real shame. Like I'd say...
I'd say we saw Nelson and Okoli as a partnership in one game, Huddersfield, and it was one of the worst fucking defensive performances I've ever seen in my life. So, but no, I hear what you're saying, Jack. I would probably pair Okoli with somebody a bit more experienced than Okoli. Nelson and with somebody, you know, maybe. I agree with Steve. I don't think, you know, people said you can't play Nelson and Vestergaard together because similar. I disagree. Like I think having them both at the back together. I mean, for me, they're Vestergaard's been our best defender this season, in my opinion. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It seems like for now we won't have Nelson anyway. Frankie mentions Kevin Gray as well, who's in the under-21s, who's looking like a real good player.
Can you imagine a back four with Nelson, Gray, and Aluko, and then somebody else on the other side? Oh,
yeah, Kevin Gray looks quality. How old is he? Is he still Is he 18?
Quite young.
Yeah, I think I've got a feeling he's older than Page and Monga, for example. But yeah. Imran says hopefully it looks worse than it was and he gets back soon. Happy days coming back, hopefully. Yeah, we'll see about that, Terence. Frankie there. Kevin Gray is 18, 19. Steve, let me ask you about this player, mate. Abdul. Now, Abdul's been getting a little bit of heat recently because he's been doing his silly little Instagram posts after every loss and every draw. I get it. I get what he's trying to do, but I feel like he's just been overdoing it recently. And obviously, even though it's good intentions only, I think there's nothing more frustrating from a football fan when you get beaten comfortably and that night, the players on Instagram saying we'll work hard to get back to winning weight and all this, and then you go and lose the next one, right? But talk to me about his performance, though, Steve, because I do feel like when you look at the data actually from yesterday, he was really good with regards to crosses, successful dribbles, beating his man, and things like that, and he got an assist, of course. But I have seen a few people say in the chat and also online that maybe at the moment he's just too predictable. What do you make to that? Because at the end he did switch it up. He put that cross in and it was a great finish. We'll talk about the goal soon. But what have you made to Fatawu's performances recently?
So yeah, when he put we played well against Middlesbrough, all of us were a bit like, what are you talking about? we were terrible. That was not a good game. So I'm a little bit frustrated with the amount of times he does cut inside and take a shot now, because I think the last sort of 15 have ballooned into the stands, which is, in those sort of positions, you should be getting the shot on target at least. But yeah, he did switch it up. He was taking the defender on the outside for a change, which is what we've been saying to do, because he's got the pace to do it. And he's linked up really well yesterday with JJ. I noticed that in the first half, we kept coming down that side because we were the strongest. And JJ kept moving into the sort of Ndidi position where he was running ahead of him and getting the ball, which was great to see. He should have scored. He had two opportunities where he could have scored in the game, which would have been better. But I think overall, yesterday's performance was a lot better than we've seen in the recent weeks. That's for sure. But maybe he's been told that he needs to switch it up a bit. Don't just keep coming inside, which is predictable. Go on the outside. Use your pace. Use JJ and do the 1-2s. And we'll get more opportunities from it. But he got an assist, which is better than what I thought you were going to get from him, because I genuinely thought that he was just being really frustrating and running into brick walls in the first half. But look, fair play. He got the ball into the box. It was a decent cross for a change, because how many of them have gone past the strikers in the box and out the other side? So yeah, overall it was a better performance. So let's hope he can build on that with Garner whilst going away for international duty and comes back and he puts in a good performance against Stoke and Southampton. Yeah, I mean, Kate, Marty wouldn't be the first manager to be a little bit frustrated at times with Abdul. I think, Enzo used to be on the touchline, head in hand sometimes when he'd shoot from 30 yards out. But you know that it will come off once in a blue moon. Let me ask you this, okay? I mean, let me just bring up the stats, because some people are saying that he should be dropped, which I just find crazy. I don't think you drop Abdul, to be honest with you. I think he's, unfortunately, rightly or wrongly, one of them players that you don't drop because of what he brings, the explosiveness and the moments out of nowhere. But you can see here, in comparison to the other other Leicester players, first for goals and assists, first for successful dribbles, first for expected assists, first for shots created. What about you, Kit? Do you think Abdul should ever be dropped, or am I being too am I overhyping him too much? I don't think he should ever be dropped. I just, we've had players like that for Leicester before, like Mahrez. Mahrez could go on a run of 4 games where he does absolutely nothing, and some would say drop him. I don't think you can drop him.
No, I don't think you can at the moment, but he's not immune from it. He is no way near the level of Mahrez, though. I will say that. No way near the level. The thing with Fatawu is, and we forget he's only 21, he's very excitable. He's almost like a puppy that we're trying to train a little bit, but his decision-making is really, really poor. As with Riyadh, neither of them you should let on their left foot because it's pretty lethal. But Riyadh's decision-making was loads better. He didn't always cut inside and shoot with his left. He mixed it up so much, which makes him one of the greats, really. You never really knew what he was going to do. But Fatawu always tries for the hero shot. And it's therefore no surprise to me that he's number one on the shots created. That guy would shoot from the dugout if he was on the subs bench, let's face it. But his decision-making needs to be better. And yesterday he did a one-touch cross, which we aren't playing enough one-touch football, and it resulted in a great winner. And someone said there he should have also scored his other chance, but he chose to go high because he always chooses to go high rather than just drill it on the floor and slide it round the keeper. So, yeah, his decision-making isn't the best, and that's what probably Marty's biggest challenges. But yeah, right now he's definitely not worth dropping because he's got explosive pace. I wish he'd use it more. I wish we'd use it for like the amount of times he made the run and Vestergaard and Ricky P didn't pick it up. That was quite frustrating. So he's hanging on the edge of the defender and just not looking for it. And that's quite frustrating. And I think when we did try it once, it was a cross diagonal pass, which is way too much for him to get on the end of. The defender cleared it up easily. So yeah, he's coming on. I mean, it's nice to see him put a great cross in, and hopefully he'll realise that that's also to be part of his offering, not just shooting the worldy left-footed top bin shot from outside the area, because that's quite frustrating. And although he bags more than most, you can't do it every time, and there's often better options on. I think Daka was shouting at him a few times for not passing it. So yeah, he's an excitable puppy. We all love him, and hopefully he's learning as he goes along. He's still a youngster, isn't he? But definitely can't drop him at the moment. He's one of our brightest sparks and best attackers, and Marty don't play many of them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I was going to say, you've got you brought up the chance he missed. That was an awful miss, to be honest with you. It was 1-on-1. It was easier to score, I think. I mean, Jack, just looking at this comment from Richard, do you think maybe he's the victim of how our expectations of him, how good he is? I think he's a victim of that because Richard says here he's been shocking this season. Don't hide behind data. I mean, if you compare him to Mavididi, Jack, has Fatawu been shocking? I don't think he has. We know this system that Marty plays does kind of isolate the wingers a little bit. So that's not helped him this season, or Mavididi, or Monga. For me, it is it's clear and obvious that Fatawu is our best winger. It's just at the moment, or recently, it's not really been working for him.
He blows hot and cold, Abdul. You don't know what game he's going to go with, to be fair. I love him to bits, and like Ben says, he believes it's all on him. That's because Leicester City rely on him. The pressure's on Abdul every game because that's where everything goes to. Abdul probably has more touches of the ball than Jordan Ayew or Mavididi, Monga, or whoever, because that's where Leicester City prefer to go down. And this is why teams start doubling up, because they know where Leicester's going to go down that right-hand side, because that's where we're lethal. Yes, he can be a bit greedy at times. He could pass the ball off. And he can try it too much, which I would prefer him to get rid of it sometimes. But no, he does have that shot. Sometimes it will come off, sometimes it doesn't. But he keeps trying. He works hard for the team. And yesterday, he should have scored that shot in the second half. I don't know how he missed it. If it were Daka, we'd be berating him, to be fair.
Because I just want to say, when you see JJ get into those similar areas, because he did yesterday in the first part of the game before we got switched, JJ got into similar areas on that right-hand side, like took the ball to the byline or cut inside the area a bit, and you never know what JJ is going to do you? He's cut it back nicely, but nobody was there because Winks was like 10 yards behind the play, which was quite frustrating, was just stood a bit outside the box, and that could have been an easy slide home. And obviously Jordan had that volley attempt, didn't he, as well? But JJ is different. JJ mixes it up because he actually looks. He looks to see who's available. If no one's better available, he will try and take it on himself. But Abdul perhaps just needs to do that a little bit more.
I saw JJ do a Cruyff turn yesterday in that near the corner flag. I was sitting there. Is that Jordan James or is that Johan Cruyff? What's going on?
Yeah, it was. I've got to play this, haven't I? Hold on. Look, JJ is, I think, fast becoming a lot of people's favourite player. I don't know if I'm sure you guys saw it. I don't know whether you saw it in person, if you were there to the end, or if you saw the video afterwards. But the players, I think Harry Winks and there was another one as well. They kind of pushed him, towards the fans, and obviously they were chanting his name, and he gave it some with the fist pumps, if you like. But he just seems to just. I don't want to use the cliche. People say, "Oh, he just gets it," right? But you know what I'm trying to say. I just feel like he's a super passionate player. I think he tries more than most, in the team. And for some reason, Steve, he seems more of an attacking threat when he's deeper in the 8 or the 6 than he is when he's a 10. I don't know if that's because maybe when he's in the 10. He's being marked a lot more, whereas when he's deeper, he's able to make those box runs like he did for the goal. But what did you think of JJ's performance yesterday? Because I just absolutely love him, Steve. I absolutely love him.
Yeah, I think we all do. I don't think there's a game this season where I've sort of gone, oh, he's been really poor. I think he's had a 6 out of 10 upwards every game, and that it was when we scored the goal, the first goal. When he was running back, he was throwing up his fist in the air as well to cheer up the fans. That's sometimes you need that as a fan base. I know we just scored, but like there are players that will cheer you up, and I think everyone gets behind him because he's somebody that he's trying. And yeah, you're right. Mavididi put on Instagram yesterday that he's a bit like Steven Gerrard, and he's doing that when he's playing deeper. He does that box crashing run, as you say. He's and because you can't really be marked because nobody's going to be marking that area. Whereas in the 10. You are more marked by the midfielders because you are the sort of linchpin, aren't you? The person that will create the play, that links up the play really well. But yeah, look, if Marty keeps insisting on playing him in the 10, we're just not going to do anything. He needs to play that deeper role now, sort of like the KDH role that we had a couple of years ago, where he'd start from deep and then push into the box from there. He's outstanding. Genuinely, the only real positive this season so far is somehow we've managed to sign this guy on loan that we can get for a fairly cheap amount of money in the summer next year. And if we don't make that permanent, I think there will genuinely be riots outside the King Power because he's somebody that clearly wants to be here. He's from sort of around the local area, like Birmingham area that he was there previously. And he said he knows the club. He's followed the club when we won the Premier League. And that's what you want to hear. A player that wants to be here, that clearly wants to progress his career at Leicester City. So get him signed now, I'd say. Do it in January. Get it done.
Yeah, he's one of these plastic Welshies, JJ. Although he does have a bit of an accent, to be fair. Maybe that's from his parents. But I think he grew up in Hereford. He did play for I think he played for Newport, the academy and stuff. But he's like, who's the other one? Joe Allen. I think Joe Allen's like not Welsh at all, really. Andy King. I mean, he's not fucking Welsh. No, Gareth Bale's proper Welsh. Don't start on that. He's a Swansea lad, I think, Cardiff lad. But yeah, anyway, here's the photo, Kate. Here's the photo that Steffi put up. You can see the resemblance, a little young Stevie Gerrard there. That's what Mavididi posted on Instagram. But yeah, what have you found? How have you found JJ, Kate? Because I think you said last week after the Blackburn game, like it's criminal to break up the Winks JJ partnership, and we now know that the reason JJ's been coming off is because he's been struggling with a bit of back pain in the latter stages of games. That was his first 90k, and I think it showed, right? The energy to the end, crashing into the box to get the winner, good header. He's excellent.
Yeah. And he's doing what he said he was going to do. He said he likes to arrive late in the box, which is exactly what he did yesterday. Because like you say, I think I hadn't considered that. But in the 10 role, he is probably marked a bit more and looked upon closely, even though he's not particularly threatening in that 10 role. He did better yesterday. I do think that's the best performance he's had in that 10 position. He really caused a bit of chaos. It didn't really bear fruit, but it did cause some chaos. He's just a really gifted footballer. He's got so much effort and energy. He's got such a good engine, like Drinkwater used to have for me, up and down. And yeah, it's the only good thing. It's not the only good thing. That's really harsh, but it's one of the things that tick really well in our team at the minute is that partnership. So I don't know why you would break it and why you wouldn't build around that. But Marty's Marty's answer to that would be that his number 10s have been injured. But I still think we can put Steffi in the 10. I would much rather have started with Steffi in the 10 and have Winks and Jordan together. And he's just brilliant. He's got so much fight and so much energy. He's a little fan on the pitch, which we like to see. And yeah, I've said it probably since the start of the season. He really reminds me of Steven Gerrard. It's more his Barnet than anything else. But he's got such an engine on him. He's a tall lad. Obviously, is it his first headed goal? Did I read that yesterday? Did he say that?
I'm not surprised. He's about 5'4", isn't he? So no,
he's not.
He gets many.
JJ ain't 5'4". He's well tall.
I said he's like 5 foot. I didn't exactly say what. He looks really small.
Oh, I think he looks really tall.
Right, I'm going to find out.
But yeah,
I think he's like. I think he's 6 foot.
I think he's 6 foot comfortably. I thought I read or heard him say it was his first headed goal. But yeah, he got himself into some really good positions yesterday. And I think I kept saying, when Drinkwater used to get the ball and just in the first second he's looking for Vardy on the run. That's what I want Winks and JJ to do for us, because I just think rather than your default mechanism being passing it back to Yannick if there's nothing on, 99% of the time, pass it to Winks. If he's free, pass it to Winks. Don't go back to the centre back. Just somehow get it to Winks so he can pull the strings, and JJ will run off him. So yeah, he's just brilliant, and I hope we sign him. And I'm glad that Winks pushed him over to us a bit yesterday, because everyone loved him and was chanting his name at the end. What a loan signing that is. And that, look, do you know what, people? Credit goes to Marty Cifuentes. The end.
And John Rudkin.
Steve's figured out. Yes, he is 6 foot. I think Steve's too busy drooling at Carranza on the bench. I think that's why. I think
not so much Carranza anymore. I'm looking at Ben Nelson and thinking, you're a good-looking guy as well. This is playing.
Steve.
Jack, let me ask you, mate. I mean, just on this part of JJ, so he's available, apparently, according to reports, for 5 to 6 million quid, or 4 to 5 million quid. That's a no bloody brainer, Jack. Where are you getting a player like JJ for £4.5 million anywhere in the world? Like that's you have to do that.
Yeah. Sign him up immediately. No questions asked. That's exactly what you do when you go to Rennes. No questions asked. Here's your money. See you later. And no, he's a fantastic player. I love his passion. I love his desire, his commitment. I think he's the only player that I think I've gave 100% to every game this season, because he gives everything for the shirt, for the badge. And we want 11 players like that, not just individuals. So, no, definitely sign him. It was great to see him with the fans yesterday. I'd have 11 Jordan James in the team, I would, because I think that'd win us the league. But no, I love his desire. I love his build-up with Harry Winks and that. And I think that's something we've got to go with for the long term. And I think this is where Marty knows it's going to work best.
Yeah. So Ben says what. I know he got the doggy on his lap, Jack. Nice. Oh, there you go. But what if Cov get promoted and offer Ren 10 million? I'm pretty sure we have the option. I'm pretty sure it's up to us. Although JJ can turn us down, of course. He can turn us down. So that's the thing. But yeah, let's wait and see. I say do it in January. You can do it as early as January. You can just make it permanent in January if we've got the facilities for that. Then if Samare is apparently for sale in January. Imagine you sell Samare for 5 million. You just use that straight on JJ. Make that permanent. But yeah, this is the case. And I think JJ, I think the fans, fair play to them, with all the shit we said at the start, obviously, about some of the disgraceful chanting. Please continue to show that man as much love as possible, because, yeah, even if it makes 5% difference of him wanting to sign permanently, then we should do it. Kate, I'm coming to you on the next one, because we're going to talk about the other substitute appearance, Mr. Bobby Decordova-Reid. What did you think?
What have I been saying?
I don't think that's PG, Kate. We can't say that online.
Go on, Kate. I mean, what a fucking finish that was to equalise.
Well, not just that. What a performance to come on. And it's a difficult moment to come on. The fans were on their backs. They were losing to bottom of the league. it wasn't exactly an inspiring performance that he was coming on to add to. He had to do a lot of the work there, and he just knitted it all together. That's what it needs to look like from midfield to attack. He just provided that amazing link-up play. We started stringing 4 or 5 passes together on the bounce as soon as he came on. And you can see there that the pro nature of him and exactly what a football brain on the pitch can do for you. You know, he was doing 1-2s with Fatawu. He was coming out onto the wing to help back up a little bit. I mean, he was just brilliant. And then, that finish right there was almost, I think it was almost identical to Ayew's attempt in the first half. But Bobby just leant into it. It was never going over the bar, and he just drilled it home. It was absolutely brilliant. And I'm really glad for him because, you know, I gave him a bit of stick last year. I didn't think he was, you know, he looked the biscuit last year in terms of what we wanted and the effort, etc. But I'm happy to say I'm happily proved wrong, really, because he was just brilliant yesterday. A real super sub. I still think it was too late. I don't know what his 90 minutes fitness is like, but 70 minutes was too late. We had 3 chances, and I think we scored 2 of them. And sometimes you run out of time. But maybe it's a fitness issue, but he was just sensational yesterday. And if you could give him man of the match for 20 minutes, which is, I think, is what Brian Robson used to do for Man United, he'd come on as sub and win man of the match every game. That's what I would do with Bobby yesterday. He was just absolutely brilliant, and it shows what happens when you put a 10 in a 10. So great attitude. He was going bananas when we got the winner as well. I don't know if you saw his celebrations. He was delighted to score the equaliser, and it means a lot to him. And it was really good to see, like, you know, Steffi's celebrations as well. Like, I hope a lot of fans see yesterday that they do care, and it is just a bit like their heads have dropped and no one's really lifting their chins off the ground at the moment. But Bobby was brilliant, a true pro, really great performance, and get him in.
Is that his first goal for the club? Because I'm pretty sure he's had 2 ruled out for own goals, isn't
he? He scored. That's his third. That's his third goal.
Yeah, I can say he definitely scored last season.
You got to remember the one against Brighton.
Brighton and Spurs, no? Spurs as well, no?
I thought one was chalked off as an own goal with the same one this season as well. But anyway, fair play.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's. Did he score this? Didn't he score the winner against Spurs?
No.
Wasn't it? Was it not
that guy you don't like who went to Stuttgart?
El Kanu scored as well. We scored 2 in that game. I'm pretty sure it was El Kanu and.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. Bobby Reid got the assist for that, I think. Actually, yeah. So potentially his second goal there. Then.
But he came on and was like telling people where to go, and he knows exactly what it should look like. So it was great that he could come on and impress and give that. What's that word? What's the word? Like captain's performance almost. He was really dictating play.
Yeah. He got 2 assists from the bench against Spurs. That was it. So I know who Brian Robson is. Bloody hell! I mean, I never saw him, but
he notoriously used to come on as sub and then win man of the match most games for Manchester United. It was,
Didn't Ollie used to do a lot of that as well? Solskjaer, come off the bench and score.
Which is a long time before Ollie.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Jack, what about you, mate, with Bobby? Because thanks to Kate's question to Marty earlier in the season, we found out that Marty is, really highly rates Bobby Reid in terms of the mental side of the game as well. And I think it showed, Jack. And for me, whether you like Bobby or not, Jack, having, playing him as a 10 means that we can move JJ back to his best position. So I think, whilst Ramsey's out, whilst Lewis Page is away with England, I think maybe that should be the 3 that Marty goes with in the next game. JJ, Winks, Bobby Reid in the 10.
Yeah, agreed. And it works a treat. Bobby Reid's a proper championship player. He was doing bits like that for Bristol City when he played for them in the Championship, and Fulham as well. When he's confident, he plays well. He's been an impact sub for us. He helped us get that goal against West Brom as well. So he's done bits for us. I think Bobby Reid is a proper number 10. He needs to start there in the next game against Stoke and put obviously Winks and JJ, and I think that works going forward. It gives that creativity. He tried a lot yesterday when he came on, and they came off. We scored 2 goals, so that's obviously down to him working hard with JJ and Winks in that midfield and getting us going forward a lot more. And we looked a lot more with a lot more effort, a lot more commitment, and a lot more desire from him as well. So that's what we obviously want to see a lot more from the team.
Now, let's end the discussion with...
People were crying then when I said
that.
Sorry.
Actually, before we talk about the manager, let me just get all your thoughts on this. Steve, Patson Daka, I think Reese said man of the match for Patson Daka. I mean, he got the assist, obviously, if you want to call it an assist. Yeah, it was an assist. He got the header down. Yeah, he got JJ as well, didn't he? But what did you make to Patson, Steve? Because for me, he by far out of the three strikers, obviously he's the quickest. He runs the most. He's probably the best presser out of all three. It's just he just can't score. But then again, the others can't either at the minute. So, what did you think to Daka's performance, and do you think that he's warranted a start in the next one?
Well, there was a moment in the first half where he closed the keeper down and he almost got the ball. And we wouldn't have had that with Carranza and Ayew because they don't have the pace. I think if you're going to play Abdul, Mavididi and Bobby, you need a pressing striker up front to do the runs in behind. And Daka is, as much as I think he's not great in front of goal, he's the player to do it because he can keep running and running and running. And look, if he scores a goal at some point, it might boost his confidence and he could go on a 2 or 3 game scoring streak. We won't go any further than that because I don't think he can go any much further than that. But overall, I still think he is our best striker because he's just so hardworking. You can fault him for anything else, but you can't fault the fact that he does try. And sometimes you just need that. You need a striker that's going to stretch the defence a bit more. Those 2 centre-backs were worried yesterday whenever we got the ball and he was sort of running behind. And on a different day, he probably could have scored. But, I would start Daka over the other 2.
What about you, Kate? Because I think we've been saying this for years. I do wonder if Daka can score, what Steve just said as well. I wonder if Daka can score a goal. He might press on and score more. Of course, it's always possible. We saw what he did in Austria. But yeah, where's your head at the moment, Kate, with Patson Daka?
Yesterday was probably his best performance in a while. Before the game, actually, I went out for drinks with a long-standing Norwich fan, and he said to us that Norwich keeper is so casual. He's like scarily casual. So you'd need to press him because he has got that in him where he just holds on to it too long, and he's made mistakes in previous games with that, and that came to fruition, didn't it? So Daka had one of his best games I've seen for a while yesterday, but he's still not scoring. So it's just all to no end, isn't it, really? And I think that was his best pressing game yesterday. He often doesn't press like that. He often runs around quite aimlessly, and it's a shame we can't use his pace. He also doesn't get service. I think you have to remember that as well. But look, it's just... I'd happily alternate, I think, between him and Carranza in some form. Like, Carranza has had a run of games, but I feel like he could I think his touch is better than Daka's, but then Daka has got the pace if you want to try and do a through ball or a ball over the top. But neither are particularly strong, which I'm surprised about with Carranza because he looks quite built, but upper body strength wise, I don't think there's much in it. So yeah, it's still the same. Like, we can sit here till the cows come home and say he just needs a goal and he'll be up and running, but we've been saying that for years and it's just never happened. So sad. I'm gutted because I really want him to score, and I thought yesterday was his best performance and to give himself the best chance of scoring, but I'm just not sure of it. Like, every time he receives the ball, it's going to go 6 foot in front of him and he has to then run back to get it. Like, his touch isn't very good. But look, he did fine yesterday, but the ultimate aim of a striker is to score, and he's never done it.
Jack, the manager, where's your head at, mate? I have it on good authority. You were Marty out. So how are you?
Who's been telling you that?
I've got eyes. I watch things. I watch stuff.
Is it you?
No.
It's everyone, Jack. It's everyone.
It was Ross. Blame Ross. No. Let me ask you this, Jack. I mean, how are you feeling now after? Because I do think if you were Marty out, I would agree that that game yesterday, I don't think necessarily should sway your opinion. I also don't think that if the board were going to sack him, if the board had in their head we're going to sack him if we lose to Norwich, they should probably still sack him if that's what the board were committed to. I don't think that game yesterday should change that. But obviously, we know they're not going to sack him after a win. That's not going to happen.
No.
But what are you thinking now, Jack? Because funny enough, we did a poll after the Middlesbrough game, and it was 62% said Marty out. And yesterday, it was... after yesterday's game, it was 54% Marty in. So the win swayed people. So has it swayed you, or do you still think he's maybe out of his depth?
No, because 2 wins in 11. It's not as like it's poor form. It is, and yes, he won yesterday, and we turned up for 20 minutes in a game, which I'd like that to be in a 90. But yeah, if we'd have lost that game yesterday, I think we'd have been very much calling for his head. I think he'd probably have been gone. It wouldn't have been Liam Manning. It'd have been the other way around, I think. And he got the win yesterday, a much needed one for him and for the team. But I like Marty. I do like the way he speaks, but what trouble it is with him that he doesn't put the words into action for me. I think, he's a manager who supposed to have been coming in for a rebuild at Leicester City, but every manager just seems to be coming in as a fighting manager to save the club at this point. So let's just see how the next few games go, what we've got after the international break. If we can really start to pick it up, then I think this is something to really build on after Norwich. But if we can't and we go in the same sort of form we have been during this international break, then it's very worrying again, isn't it? And I just, I want it to work for him, I really do. But some of his decision-making at times, and that's questionable. But if he was under pressure yesterday and the board were going to sack him, then you've got to stick with the same decision, haven't you? You can't just sit there and say, just because he's won, you've got to give him more time and that. But how much more time do you want to give him? I hope he turns it around, but I don't know.
Steve, let me ask you, mate, because you're openly very reactionary after a game. I'll never forget a couple of weeks ago where you were like, leaving the ground, Marty out, Andy King in. And then the next day you were like, actually, I take that back a little bit. But how are you feeling now? Because honestly, that's how, I am Marty in. But again, I'll say it. I don't think yesterday's game should change the board's opinion. I think if they wanted to sack him, they probably should. But I still think he's given himself now 2 weeks where he can work with the squad, and hopefully, I know it didn't happen in the last international break, but hopefully we go again against Stoke and we can turn it around. Because look, I mean, I was far too young, but Martin O'Neill. When did Martin O'Neill come to the club? What year?
96, was it? 96?
Okay. So I wasn't even born then, so I wasn't born, but I have it on good authority in the history books that he started really poorly. Fans wanted him gone, and he turned it around. And he turned it around. So do you think he can turn it around, Steve?
I do. So I put in the chat yesterday that it almost felt like Friday night he had his sort of death row meal, and he was being walked to the chair before 70 minutes, and then somebody's just put a last minute appeal in, and he's like, well, hang on, we can't, take him back to the cell, keep him at Leicester. Yeah, look, that definitely papered over the cracks yesterday in a sense, but you can clearly see that the players are still playing for him. So there's that positive. But if we were up against a team that were better than Norwich, we probably would have lost that game. So I do feel that if the club were going to sack him before Norwich, or if we lost to Norwich, then realistically they shouldn't change their mind, because that's what they want to do. And let's be honest, they own the club, so it's their choice. But look, it's a win. The players still playing for him. We look better in the last sort of 20 minutes when we went a goal down, which we always do, because teams always tend to sit back when we go a goal down. So right now, I'm probably leaning more towards Marty in, but that's a reactionary thing of winning a football game. If we'd have drew yesterday, I probably would have been Marty out. So I just think that you can't really blame him for the mess that we're in when we've got players that don't want to be at the club. I think you've got to. And I said the other day that he's the perfect manager for next summer, in the sense of he won't have all of these players that want to leave. He can build a squad of his own, and we'd be, probably flying. But look, it is what it is. Football's a strange situation, a strange sport, and no doubt we'll wake up tomorrow morning and he's gone, because that's just how reactionary football clubs are.
I mean, Kate, there's a comment here. If we're prepared to give a player a chance to become good, why not Marty? You know, I know you're Marty and Kate, just like me. I know, you know, you don't think it's the answer to sack the manager. I think we both, you know, agree that, and many people agree that, you know, there's the players are a large part of the problem. Do you think? Let me ask you this, Kate. Do you think they were going to sack him if we lost? Do you think it would have been Liam Manning still in a job and Marty out this morning?
I don't think they'd have sacked him. No, I don't. I don't know why I think that. I think it's probably because it would just feel like another eat, sleep, repeat of Leicester, and you've got to learn your lessons at some point. And we're saying, you know, I think Marty just needs time. He does put square pegs in round holes, but in his opinion, and I think people need to remember he knows a lot more about football than we do, that in his opinion, he puts square pegs in round holes because there's nothing else better. And, you know, all of this cry for youth, a lot of these youth players that are being called for are children. They are 16 or 17 years old. KDH didn't break through properly till he was 22. You know, Abdul's 21 and he's still got things to learn. Ben Nelson is 21? Yeah. You know, that's a quarter of their lives away from a 16-year-old when you put it like that. So, you know, the youth thing is all well and good, but you have to wait for them to be of age. And he's already showed that he is prepared to play a 16-year-old if they're good enough, because he's played Monga. And if you treat, like, I've never even thought of it like that before, Locks, until you've just said, but if you treated Monga like you treated Martin, Monga would be thrown out of the club. Not performed well at all in 3 months.
I mean, people.
But he's not.
Well, Kate, people. I was going to say, Kate, people are still saying Daka could come good, right? Daka from 4 years.
No, he won't. So, you know, I think you judge a manager on making sure that their ethos is also shines through in the players they also buy. And I think I will still think that his transfer window was really good, and two of those players have been our better players. He's managed to get Bobby Reid looking great, which no manager did last season. We were all thinking, what another waste of money of the wage bill, basically the wage budget. So he has improved players, but having said that, it's a results business at the end of the day, and he does. Some of his tactics are really, really frustrating, but I have said that probably about the last 6 or 7 managers. Enzo was frustrating at times. Brendan was unbelievably frustrating at times. These managers are very, very stubborn, and that's the modern manager for you. And I know someone's just commented there that the O'Neill was a different example because it was 90s football. Yeah, and look what happened. We had a really good, successful period with plenty of cup finals. If we give someone time, it doesn't, just because it's the modern way doesn't mean it's the right way. Now look at Forest. Forest are all of a sudden in turmoil. They were so smug at the City Ground last year at that fixture, even though we won. They were so smug. And how quickly things can change, and it can look dire all of a sudden. You know, look at Wolves. You know, they've lost Cunha, and all of a sudden they look absolutely awful. So, you know, we've got to stick by someone. And I just think Marty, we should stick by him. But I understand if results keep being poor, then it gives the question to the board that they don't want to make. But I don't know how you expect to judge a manager and talk about this rebuild when he's had 10 windows and 3 international breaks, 10 games and 3 international breaks since the transfer window closed. That's not long enough to do a rebuild. Are you mad? Like, that's just wild. But people are so short-tempered with football these days, and it's really short-term. You know, we saw that yesterday in the space of 20 minutes. There was some of the ugliest chants, and then those people at the end were singing "We love you, Leicester, we do." Do you? 20 minutes ago you didn't.
As well.
You know, I was like, okay. So yeah, I want to give him time, because you know what? We haven't tried that one. We've tried quick sackings, we've tried quick changes, and we've tried the impatient approach, and it's not worked for 4 years.
Yeah. No, I agree. I was going to say,
you know, we would have kept Enzo. It's not like we sacked Enzo. We found a gem there. You know?
Yeah, and he left us and stole our best player. And now you've got Luke worshipping.
Never used him, and now he's playing for the Toffees.
Yeah. Scored yesterday as well. Kiernan. I was going to say as well. I mean, look, I get what the comment is about O'Neill. Like it was 20, 25 years ago. But I think you've got to remember as well, there have been recent examples too, like not on the scale of not, winning only 2 games in 10, but like Arteta, for example, at Arsenal, he finished like 8th or 9th 2 seasons in a row.
I think he lost his first 5 games.
Yeah, I think he did.
Imagine if we'd have sacked Pearson after the playoff defeat against Watford. We wouldn't be where we were 2-3 seasons later, would we? So, because there were calls for him to go after that Watford game.
Yeah, we need stability. Yeah. The players, you can see the players need stability as well, whether they're the good players or the bad players. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a comment here. You guys can tell me. I'm sure you're older than me. Someone wanted Little out when he lost the second playoff final, and no stability if we sack Marti Cifuentes. And again, I think that would then continue this cycle, like Kate said, where we've got a squad. I said yesterday we've got a squad built. We've got a squad full of players assembled by 5 managers. So do you want to make that 6? Do you want to make that a squad?
No, it'd be built by 6 because it wasn't Puel signed Ricardo. So
I'm not classing Rude because none of Rude's signings are here. Koulibaly's not here. He's the only one that he got. But
it signings played.
Monger is a Rude signing though because he signed the deal under Rude.
I suppose.
That is unbelievably generous, Steve.
Yeah, then we're classing. Who did Hamza Chowdhury make his debut under? Was it Puel or no? Was it Ranieri? Probably further back, maybe Shakespeare. So no, we're not going that far, Steve. But I get what you're saying. I did forget about Ricky P though. Yeah, Puel. Crazy how many managers he's had. Vardy had even more. So, but yeah, anyway, I will agree with this. It does frustrate me. Coley's down on the floor like every 10 bloody minutes. I know yesterday he did genuinely get injured, but still, even before that, he's just always on the floor, which really annoys me. But hey ho.
He has good energy though. Like Leicester fans talk about effort, energy, and desire. He's got that in abundance right now, Caleb. Like he looks quite happy playing at the minute.
He does look like he sees in slow-mo, though, because his passes are always 2 yards behind the player that was there previously, but has moved 2 yards further up the field.
But I like it that he passes forward.
No, that's true. He does pass forward. Yeah.
Well, he tries. He tries to pass forward.
He gives him the ball, so we go back again.
I dare you tell him that to his face.
I actually think Caleb seems a bit of a. Yeah, I think he strikes me as like big on the outside, soft on the inside kind of thing. Hard on the outside, soft on the inside kind of guy.
That sounds like you logs.
Hey, right, we're going to end it there. Thanks to Kate, thanks to Steve, thanks to Jack. Jack does have you got a match day vlog out? Jack, is it out?
I have. It's got everything on there. Well, most parts of it anyway.
Good stuff. Is your pie on there? Yeah, the pie's on there.
It is on there. Yeah, I had to break the bloody lid off because I couldn't get through the lid at first.
That was funny. Seeing Jack doing the first take and his ego.
That was an outlook of it.
I was like, fucking hell, it's a pie, Jack. Jesus Christ, not Fort Knox.
So there you go. There's your viewing for this morning. Go and check that out on the Final Whistle. And then also we've got Tom's post-match review as well, so you can check that out. We'll be back live tomorrow 7 p.m. for the call-in show. Can't wait to speak to Ross. That's gonna be great fun, so I look forward to that. Enjoy enjoy the rest of your Sundays. I've got a trip to Foss Park, so wish me fucking luck. So take care all. See you all soon. Bye bye. No more 200 grand, but our new sponsors, The Beautiful Frame, have smashed it with this Jamie Vardy piece. It's unreal. They're a local Leicester business as well, which makes it even better. And not just City, they do prints for other clubs as well. So it's perfect if you are stuck for a birthday or Christmas present for one of your friends or family. Now, the best bit, they have sorted BTG viewers out with a discount. Just use BTG12 at checkout for money off. BTG12. Grab yours now at thebeautifulframe.com. The link is down below.